G'day everyone, welcome to this all trimesters appropriate yoga practice. My name is Amy Carmody, if we haven't met before, and just ensure that you have clearance from your OBGYN and your doctor to do some movement today. Have handy some type of pillow, feeding pillow, pregnancy pillow, home pillow, or a couple of yoga blocks to bring the ground up to you, which can be very helpful, especially in that third trimester when the belly's big and beautiful. I miss mine. Mine's gone now. I've had two beautiful little sons, and I always love offering prenatal and postnatal movement. It is very close to my heart, obviously, and this practice is really a chance for us to connect to ourselves, obviously to the little soul within you, and just also appreciating that you might be having this wonderful, happy, comfortable pregnancy, and you also might be having a very uncomfortable, icky, confronting pregnancy too. And know that truths can coexist too. So whatever you're experiencing, I'm sending you a lot of love, and whatever you're feeling is okay. It's nice to hear that, I think, as often as possible from a fellow mum. And the practice of yoga for me throughout pregnancy, and more so postpartum, is that it's such a solace in helping my anxiety to calm the nervous system, and just an opportunity to connect to yourself. So again, obviously you're pregnant, you're also connecting to the soul within you, little bub. So we'll try and have that nice sense of flow and connection. So welcome, it's so nice to have you here. Let's begin in a wide kneeling position. And again, you might be trimester 1 and just have that beautiful bloat look going on, which we can't kind of wait to get that little pop happening. Or you might be in that third trimester with a nice pronounced belly now. So I'll keep accommodating where I can. So walk your fingertips forward so that your arms are in a reaching position. Tilt your pelvis back behind you so that you can open up the belly gently there. Press your chest through the collarbones. Maybe have a little bit of a sway through your head in space, just easing some movement into the neck. Then so nice to get some opening in the back of the rib cage, because often in pregnancy we can tip more anteriorly in the pelvis and lordotic in the spine. So as we push the ground away and round, just notice that of course you'll have a baby bump there, but just this expansion across the back of the rib cage, which again might feel very, very nice if you're feeling a little bit of compression there. We have a gentle tuck of the tailbone, easing the head so that the neck has a sense of release and length. Let's roll through these two motions of forward in space, cow belly, rocking back, opening the back of the rib cage there, the back of the spine. And just move like that with your breath. Using the breath as a sound to connect and listen to as you move your body through space. And it's not about disassociating from the world around you. You can very much hear that in the background. But we're strengthening the connection we have to ourselves, to the feelings in our body, to our nervous system. You'll climb the spine in just a normal upright position. Right hand will press, left hand to the back of the skull. This leaning, opening twist. Oh my gosh, and I'm not pregnant, but I can visualize the feeling because you get quite compressed in your lateral tissue. Feel the left rib cage expand like the gills of a fish, and lean your skull back into the support of your hand. And then obviously if you've got a nice big bump, you'll do just as much as possible, left elbow to right thumb. And then again, try and part your shoulder blades so you get that nice back of rib cage opening. So let's roll through these motions of rotation with extension and rotation with flexion. Can the breath be in and out through the nose? Appreciating any sensation that feels like a really wonderful and positive sense of release. On this last one, let's hold the extension, leaning your head back into the hand. Then as the left hand returns to the mat, flip it around and just take a moment to breathe down into the left forearm. Inhale fully. Exhale, maybe out the mouth. Then we'll flip left hand around, right hand to the back of the skull. Our rotation with extension. Let's pause to feel the opening of the lateral right rib cage. So push the ground away, lean your head back. Right elbow, left thumb as you breathe out. So rolling through the two motions of rotation with extension and rotation with flexion. We can most certainly still rotate when we're pregnant. We just keep this nice femoral artery open and ensure that you're just going to the point where you're not feeling really squished and uncomfortable, but you can most certainly still rotate. We'll hold the last opening of extension and maybe just try and open up that lateral right rib cage a little bit more. Then right hand will come down in the flip for a forearm stretch. You might use your free hand to open. Inhale fully through the nose. And release through the mouth. Okay. Knees can come a little more underneath you. Hands come to the top corners of the mat. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees from the floor to start easing yourself back into a downward dog. You might pedal through the heels one at a time. And have a little bit of spaciousness depending on, pelvic size, belly size. We just want to feel like that our tummy, of course, will run into the thigh bones when we're pregnant and when we're folding in half. But it is nice to open your feet a little bit just to create a little bit more space for the belly to press in between your groins. So if the heels need to be elevated, absolutely go for it. Nice little bend to the knees. What we're trying to prioritize is the height of the pelvis and the support of your shoulders. So yes, the chest presses through, but not to the point where you're feeling a collapse in your shoulders. So can we recruit the TVA, which is this like really wonderful deep core layer in your body that as you exhale especially helps you lift baby up towards you away from the mat. So can we use that in our downward facing dog? Take one more inhale. Full breath out. Come down onto your hands and your knees and bring your hands to the back of your head. From there, let your head thread back into your hands. I'd like you to just use enough glute engagement to feel your pelvis nice and balanced so your pubic bone is level with the sacrum behind you. Again, in pregnancy, very normal for our tissue to stretch and accommodate for a baby. So we're just using a little bit of muscular effort to feel a sense of balance and support. So from there, let your head thread back into your hands. A little bit of glute effort. Inhale, breath. Exhale, rotate your rib cage slightly to the left. Center. Exhale, slowly rotate to the right. So let's pivot through with our breath. Turning left, center is inhale. Turning right. Just attempting in an active manner to mobilize the thoracic spine. Once more to the left. Once more to the right. Center, take your hands onto your pelvis and step your left foot forward. Left hand can grab the underside of your belly, and if it's not there yet, place your left hand on your right hip. Right arm up to the ceiling, add side bend. Right glute, if you were to have a little bit of a swipe with your free hand, is pretty firm to feel the front of the right hip open. Maybe back of the head is supported by your palm again. Keeping the left hand supporting the weight of the belly, or just having that nice moment with hand to baby. Full inhale breath. Maybe arc and lean a little bit more in the lateral side bend as you breathe out. Then hands to your pillows or your blocks. Right foot steps wide and left foot steps wider so that again, if it's there, nice baby belly bump, has plenty of space, and your hands or your forearms can be supported by the pillow or the block. And imagine that the head is full of coins. It could be full of thoughts, I'm sure. When's the baby coming? What should I call the baby? What do I get the baby? Blah, 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 blah. So just take a moment to drop and let the head hang. I'd like you to really sit back in your hips here and maybe even take the 2 palms to your back, right at the lumbar, which is probably carrying extra load, of course, but working extra hard for you at the moment. So just give your back a little bit of a rub, give the top of the glutes, outer hips a bit of a rub, back of the legs, just getting that somatic connection to your body. Then squat back a little bit, put your hands on your legs so that you are standing on really nice strong legs, which will be helpful when the time comes, whatever labor unfolds as. You really need to have strong legs, even in terms of recovery too. So in that nice deep squat, I'd like you to push the ground away. Again, use your glutes just enough to feel the level in the pelvis, that TVA lifting baby towards you. Grab a hold of your right wrist and side bend to the left. Then from there, left arm underneath in an eagle wrap. Descend the heads of the shoulders down towards your waist. And then sit back into that squat again, but round your thoracic. And use that to help you stand all the way up. Reach your arms out nice and wide. Find an interlace. I'm sure you'll appreciate the pec stretch. Take a moment to pull back. As you release, roll your right shoulder, roll your left shoulder. Have a little bit of movement through your thoracic spine. Step the feet comfortably underneath you so the right foot can step back. In a warrior 2 position, and to make it quite pelvic girdle friendly, narrow the stance so that you're not putting so much pressure on the pelvis, and keep the warrior high, right? Again, that will support any tension that you're feeling either front or back of the pelvis. Arms reach out nice and wide. Meeting this side body again, left arm reaches to the ceiling. And then warrior variation, take your right arm overhead as you land the forearm. Stand strong on your legs. Feel your feet connect to the yoga mat. Left arm overhead. Right arm overhead. Can we connect to that rhythm of the breath again? And what might be really nice is to take left hand to your baby belly and then right hand to your baby. Once more to the reverse. We'll take our hands back to the pillows or back to the blocks. Remember, when that back foot steps in, you can always step wider, hinge at your hips, release your head to make more space. A halfway lift, hands towards the thigh bones. As you pull the chest forward, make space in the side waist. When you exhale, bring your elbows to your shins and let your 2 hands in a prayer position catch the weight of the head. Let's repeat twice more. Inhale, spine is long. Fold over your legs, releasing in the tailbone and the low back. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Hands to the blocks or the pillows as you step right knee and left knee underneath you. Walk the knees back a little bit so that you are in a supported plank. We don't want to spend too much time in a plank towards the end of the trimester. 3. Supporting diastasis as much as we can. So use your glutes, use that means to push into the blocks, the floor or the pillow. But I'd like you to rock your pelvis back and stick your tailbone out. And then like you're scooping ice cream with your pelvic floor, pull yourself forward again into that plank. So in my community, we call it the ice cream scoops. So connect to the base of your pelvis. When you reach your sitting bones back, there's 2 bones underneath the bottom of your pelvis. We want the pelvic floor to stretch and widen, which is what we need for labor and birth. And when we scoop the floor of the pelvis forward, we have that essence of strength and the lift of a Kegel. But we want the best of both worlds. We need our pelvis to soften and stretch, and we need that ability to tone and draw up. 3 more. Maybe let a little bit of ease and movement come to the back of the neck. And on that last one, you might in some way let your pelvis sit back towards your heels. Again, if there is this beautiful baby there now, you can, when I say now, I mean almost fully cooked, make some space by just simply widening your thigh bones. Let's again come into downward facing dog, and we'll do a little bit of lateral work again in the side body. So shift your heels over to the right. Plie 3 times into the knees, taking your attention onto the low left waist, your lower back, heels to the left. Plie 3 times as you push the ground away. Isn't that so nice for the back? Whoa. Lower down onto your knees, stand up, take your hands behind the back of the head. Let your head thread into your hands to remind you about your posture. Inhale, exhale, rotate right. Inhale, exhale, rotate left. Inhale and exhale. So your pelvis is this beautiful anchor as we rotate and mobilize the thoracic spine, which is being incredibly challenged when we're pregnant, okay? Let's center, and now we'll step our right foot forward. Keep your nose over your pelvic floor. Right hand to baby or left hip, and we'll go into our lateral reach. Maybe left hand behind the back of the head. Maybe, again, getting that somatic connection. You'll have these very nurturing hands the moment you become a mother, which you are already. And it's nice to implement that. Initiate it now. Full breath in. Deep breath out. From there, take your fingers to the pillow. When that left foot steps in, step it wider and accommodate the right foot should you need. Sit back into the hips, let your head go. Full inhale breath. Empty and release. Take your hands to the thigh bones as you sit back in that squat and elongate your spine. So challenge the strength of your legs. Challenge the strength of your postural muscles along the back chain of your spine. But feel again that lift, TVA support and rib cage support as you lift baby away from the ground. Then use the glutes and your strong legs to stand up. Feel again that connection of pubis and sacrum balancing. Grab your left wrist, reach to the sky and side bend to the right. When you center, take your right arm underneath in the eagle wrap, and then you can kind of round in, feel the back of the rib cage opening. When you stand up, reach wide again, find an interlace behind the back of your body. Just enjoy that chest stretch. And if it's not happening with your fingers interlaced, you by all means can grab, something like your bathrobe, strap, pair of tights, anything that's going to help you open the chest. And it is very normal whilst you're pregnant to already start creating that tension at your lymph nodes and your chest. Boobs have probably grown. And then when your milk comes in, times that by 10. So have a little wiggle when you release. Then again, that support for pelvic girdle pain, if any, go a little bit shorter in your stance to make it more supportive. I'm not really super interested, especially as relaxin kicks right up. We don't need to be concentrating on flexibility. We just need to be working mobility and stability. So find that nice, more upright warrior two. Meeting the lateral body again. Right arm by your ear. Left arm by your ear. And this attention we've been having throughout the practice on the side body is so beautiful. Again, when you're pregnant, we get a lot of congestion in these muscles down your QLs, your side waist. So anything lateral feels really wonderful. Connect to the soles of your feet, your breath. 2 hands to the blocks, the bolsters. Again, when you step your feet in, let's make enough space for the belly to have a little bit of gap between the groins and the thigh bones. Halfway lift. So feeling that elongation to the back of the neck, the spreading of the collarbones. When you exhale, catch yourself in a prayer buttress, hands to prayer, support for your head. Twice more. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Breathe in. breathe out. Take your hands to the pillow. Come back to your knees. Remember, it's more of that kind of plankish position, but we're rolling the pelvis back behind and scooping it forward. Rolling it back behind and scooping it forward. So again, can we visualize? So you can even palpate. Get your fingers right above your hamstring where it meets your buttock. There's two bones there called your ischiums. That's where your hamstrings connect. The pelvic floor that exists laterally, so horizontally, not front to back, but side to side. In labor, we want them to stretch and open. So that's what I want you to visualize, that there's almost this widening that's occurring between the sit bones. And it's going to be quite funny, you know, if and when you're in this position in labor, you're going to think, Amy said, visualize a stretch and widening, right? And then we scoop it under, and there's that tone lift in the pelvic floor, and the use of our glutes and the lift of baby away from the floor. So we get the stretch and the widen, maybe even a little bit of a tailbone wag. And then we want to get that blueberry lift, belly support. Let's try and do that twice more. This movement will become more natural to you with time. And then again, we can accommodate for the belly, taking ourselves back. Support, you can use your pillow under your head or a couple of fists. But hopefully, there's been this really nice change in your lower back and the tissue around your pelvis. Down your side body, those ribs can experience so much congestion in pregnancy. So you're doing really, really well. It's not an easy feat growing a human. Come into your down dog. Heels elevate, shift them to your left. Plie into the knees a couple of times. Give yourself those really strong pressing arms. And then heels to the right. Plie into the knees. Downward facing dog. Just make the thigh bones and the feet a little bit wider for you to walk your hands back towards your legs and roll up through your spine. Take your time. If you get a little bit lightheaded at the top, you can support one hand to the underside of baby and one hand to the forehead. Full inhale breath. Maybe you've got that little mom sway going on already as you breathe out. And let's just come back to that visualization of widening between the two sitting bones and getting ourselves into a squat position. I'm going to turn to face you so that I don't have to. So this is where I love a couple of blocks, depending on your dorsiflexion. Your dorsiflexion is your ability to flex at the ankle and for your knees to go over your toes. If you've got ankles like concrete, I'm an ex-ballerina, so I go this way. I don't tend to go that way, which means squatting is very challenging for me because of my ankles. So if you need to, you can squat onto something, okay? So just using your pillow as support for the pelvis and lift that up higher if you need to. And just taking a moment to feel that release in the lower back. You might like your head dropped forward if that feels nice, giving yourself a little bit of a scalp massage. We won't spend too long here, but it is a nice way to widen and down-regulate the pelvic floor, especially having the pillow support you underneath. Soften the inside of your mouth. Try and associate that connection between your jaw and your pelvic floor. We have wonderful fascial connections between the jaw and the pelvic floor. So just be really conscious throughout your pregnancy how much you might be clenching or grinding your teeth, especially when we're anxious and feeling a little bit uncertain. Just try and come back to that ability to not disassociate from the external world, but take a moment to connect to your breath and your body and your baby, and remember that it's all okay. Take your pillow. You'll lie on it, use it as support. You might also find that, especially again in the third trimester, that you'd like a blanket underneath underneath your belly. But we'll come into a side lying position where my left arm is coming out underneath and my knees are stacked on top. You can interlace your fingers or push your base arm, your top arm down. We'll open up the top thigh and imagine that your kneecap is a big texter. Without moving the structure of your pelvis, you have a TVA lift supportive baby. I'd like you to draw circles with your permanent marker, your kneecap, in the air. So you're circumducting your right hip, trying to remain, again, we're not moving at the actual structure of the spine or the pelvis. So just these really nice hip circles, circling the other way. Once you've done 3 circles one direction and the other, bring your hands together like a closed book. The pillow is supporting the back of your head, and then you turn the page and open. So you go from closed angle to open angle, and what can feel really nice is a sense of touch connection. Right fingers instead trail the skin across the anterior, the front of your body, and then open. You can link this movement with your breath. Isn't it so nice to have the ground underneath us? Oh. So if you're experiencing a lot of fatigue, it can feel really nice. You get to this part of your movement practice where you're finally on the earth, letting your body be supported. Can hold that last one for a full inhale, letting the head of the shoulders sink back and down as you breathe out. Just being really mindful how you turn to go to the other side. Of course, you can go onto your back just to flip onto your side. And we'll do our 3 hip circles, one direction. It's really important that you look after the health and the mobility of your hip joints throughout not only your pregnancy but also postpartum as well. And 3 circles the other. The health and the function of your hip joint strongly correlates to the state of your pelvis too. So just keep your hips moving, keep your pelvis really happy, keep your glutes strong. We'll go into our closed book to open book. I'm taking myself back. In my second pregnancy, I had so much fluid retention, and by that last 10 days, I was like a puffer fish and just couldn't move my neck and my shoulders. It was the last straw, right? And so I'm just kind of taking myself back to remembering how nice this felt, feeling your shoulders relax on that last one. Now you're on your side. You might choose just to close up your arms, stay and lay there. I'm just going to turn to face you so, I'm not rude and have my back to you, but get yourself really wonderfully comfortable. If you would like to have a second pillow, I always encourage it. Place it underneath your knees. That is such a great way to support pelvic girdle pain throughout pregnancy, is to begin straight away sleeping with a pillow between your knees, just so there is that nice support at the front and the back of the pelvis. Ensure that once you have finished lying down, that when you come up safely pressing onto your side. But I encourage you to stay lying down for a moment. You deserve it. You're growing a pair of eyes and arms and fingernails and toenails and a spine. An extra one, not yours. So you deserve the rest, and to find a movement practice that enables you to connect to yourself and all of the broad spectrum emotions I no doubt imagine that you're having, and just to trust that anything you're feeling is granted and okay, and truths can coexist. It can be a really exciting time. It can also be quite an overwhelming time. And so I'm sending you a lot of love. I hope that felt so nice for your lower back, for your side body, that you're able to breathe a little bit better, and for you to come back to this practice whenever you need it. use as often as you can the breath as a means to just take a moment with yourself and, of course, with your beautiful baby too, who before you know it will be in your arms. And it was so nice to share this with you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.